So, hi everyone, and welcome to Hair in the Wind. And I'm Gloria Mindak, editor of Červená Barva Press, and we turned 18 this year, so I'm really excited about that. I would like to thank Antje for putting this worldwide project together. It's an honor to be a part of it and for Červená Barva Press to be one of the many sponsors. It is vital for women and men to speak out against murder because that's what it is. And the brutal treatment of women in Iran and other parts of the world. So many have taken part in this protest, and our voices need to be heard. Freedom and human rights for all needs to happen. We all must keep speaking up to be a voice for those who don't have a voice. Thank you, Antje, for all you do, and to everyone who joined this protest. We must continue for Mahsa Amini and the millions of women who have no freedom and are brutally treated and killed. Thank you for reading today, everyone. And I would like to say, please excuse any mispronunciations of words that I say when I introduce your names and also in my poem. So now I'd like to turn it over to Antje.
Yes, thank you very much, Gloria Mindak, for hosting this event with Červená Barva Press. Yes, as you said, there are 30 international associations that support this project because it's really a worldwide movement, the solidarity for what's happening in Iran. Altogether in this project, we are 200 poets from all over the world who participated with their poetries, their poems. And we had about 7 live events in Italy until now. And this is the first online event for the people that couldn't come to Italy. So I'm very happy to see you all here together with us. And the reason is serious because the situation in Iran is not good, but something is changing. The interesting thing of this project is that about 20 Iranian poets participated, and I got to know some of them very deeply because they came to Italy, participated in the live events. And so this revolution, which is a revolution of women, it's a non-violent revolution, a civil disobedience with very much courage. It's going on. And one Iranian woman, she showed me the videos from her hometown in Iran and said, this is my daughter going around with a skirt, no veil, and lots of people doing it now. And the more women do it, the less the possibility of repression is there. Of course, to change in a big way, it's still a long way to go, especially because the revenge is awful. There were so many arrested women and men, 19,000 or even more, and the conditions in the prisons are horrible. Relatives that go to see their daughters in prisons, they ask, what shall I bring you? Tell me, what do you need? They say, bring me anti-conceptive pills because we are raped day and night. So this is a very unsecure place. So you can imagine what trauma these women, young women, have to go through. Then there was a case of the poisonment in school, the chemical attacks. Everybody read about it. 700 girls were poisoned between November and March. Then there are the executions. Every week they execute young men that are in solidarity. They were in solidarity with the women in demonstrations. So lots of these news don't even arrive to the newspapers or to the news, to the headlines. Then during the demonstrations, another horrible thing was that they used these plastic bullets. They use them also in Western countries against riots when there are demonstrations. But in Iran, they use these plastic bullets to shoot on the ice. And about 400 people remained blind, because these bullets, if they go into the eye, you're blind forever. There's nothing to save. So still, although these terrible things happen to people that protest, that cut their hair in the squares and so on, this young woman continue. And this courage is important, that we show our solidarity, because this is unique, I think. And I know for Iranian people, it's very important to know that we are here and we think of them and we speak out for them. I got so many thanks also from people that are in Iran that cannot come out. So this evening is important, not just for us, but for them and for everybody. So I would say, Gloria, you introduce the first 7 readers, and then I do the second part. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Antje. Our first reader is Ruja Mohassasi. Ruja Mohassasi is an Iranian-born poet and educator living in Northern California. She is McDowell Fellow and a graduate of the Pacific University MFA program. Her first poetry collection, When Your Sky Runs Into Mine, was the winner of the 22nd Annual Elixir Poetry Prize and will be forthcoming from Elixir Press this year. And I give you Ruja.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you both for the invite. It's wonderful to be here, and congratulations on the success of the events you've put together. It's amazing. I'm going to read a poem that is inspired by my memory of the first year that the hijab became mandatory in Iran. I was in 3rd grade, although I could have been in 2nd grade, I'm not quite sure, but I think it was 3rd grade. Hijab in 3rd grade. It's autumn of 1981. Radiators in the hall clang in time for a new uniform. Her mother hands the shop lady a list. There is no need to undress, she says. Shaking out a full-length overcoat, she slides the schoolgirl's arms through both sleeves. Wide hems overhang the shirt cuffs of her peacock green peacoat. In the mirror, buttoned up the midline to the schoolgirl's throat, is midnight, falling darkly to her ankles, shunning her shins. An opaque cutout of a cloud is folded into a triangle and cast over her head. Fingers wedge her bangs under repeatedly, pleading with stars to retreat and keep out of sight. 2 stray ends of the night droop aimlessly at her chest. The lady gathers and ties them into a double knot, a lock under the chin. It's time to come to terms with the dark. Schoolgirl looks up to give thanks, but the lady has forgotten every shape there is to a smile. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruja.
Our next reader is Mansour Nornakish. He writes poems and stories in both English and Farsi, his first language. To be a voice for freedom, human rights, and environment, have presented the poems of contemporary poets for Mahsa Amini in an Ottawa-based weekly Persian radio program. And I give you Mansour.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Antje. Thank you, all this team. It's a very wonderful event that comes to talk about the human rights in Iran. The situation is very, very drastic, as Antje said. And every day we receive very bad news, very sad news about the execution and the other thing. You know, they arrest, they torture, they prison, and many people, young people especially in Iran. And the brutal regime is doing that to suppress any voice against them, against any voices for which is raising for freedom of speech, for human rights. So human rights cannot be occurred and maintained, but by the active attention of all of us. Whenever the basic rights of any human being are threatened anywhere, then we are all threatened. In this short poem, I look at life and death, and with this attention to the words of the life and death, that the life without rights, without freedom of speech, without human rights is it's nothing more than death. Actually, the life occurs when the human rights happens. For Mahsa Amini, there is a sign for life and for death too. In the midst of the chaos of death preachers and the silence of us, the victims, the bruise of your eye is a sign that you had known the life. You crossed the fearful border of silence to leave the chaos of death. And your bruise is a sign for me this time and every time to look deeply for the sign of life in myself. There is a sign for death as for life too. Leave your hair to the wind. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mansoor.
Thank you, Mansoor. Our next reader is Barbara Thurston. She lives on a sheep farm in rural Massachusetts. She has taught writing courses at LaSalle University Village and online for Vermont College. Her third book of poetry about the history of her 1770s farmhouse is titled The Many Lives of Cat House Farm, Tales of a Rural Brothel. And I give you Barbara.
Thank you, Gloria. And thank you, Angie and Gloria, for inviting me to participate in this vital project. After a dream of Mahsa, your words are no more than wind rattling weeds. You are not my prophet, nor my police. If a tendril of hair escapes my hijab, it is my decision whether to tuck it back or leave it. Do not presume you know what Allah demands of me. Whatever promises I keep lie beyond your powers. May Allah forgive what I cannot forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you. And our next reader is Susan Case. She has authored 8 books of poetry, most recently, The Damage Done, Broadstone Books 2022, which won her 3rd Pinnacle Book Achievement Award. Her books have previously also won many prizes. She co-edited the Margot Taft Stever, the anthology I Want to Be Loved by You, Poems on Marilyn Monroe by Milk and Cake Press 2022. And I give you Susan.
Thank you, Gloria and Angie, for putting this together. I know it was a lot of work, and Angie, all those videos that you consolidated, that's an amazing endeavor. And I know it doesn't take much risk to me to write a poem here in my apartment in New York City, but I hope that this does provide support for those who are directly involved in the struggle. This is against the veil. Her hair never had the chance to turn gray. And if such violence happened in the West, as it does with women of color, trans women, women just out walking or in their home, a bitter incident that was really murder, a flippant diagnosis of heart failure from a previous condition that was really head injury and torture, bruises on the feet, tools of misogyny. See that man over there? In the West, he might be afraid. In Iran, no one is concerned how he dresses or his hair. He doesn't fear being trendy with a fringe of bangs. Blood ran from her ear. Her red, red lips beseech you to remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna.
Thank you. Our next reader, Patricia Martin. She is an author, poet, performer, actor, and freelance writer, communications professional who has been featured in numerous venues, festivals, on radio, television, and published in various periodicals and anthologies. She also created and hosted Speakeasy, a monthly poetry spoken word series. A member of the Authors Guild and Nonfiction Authors Association, Patricia is the author of 6 nonfiction books. And I give you Patricia.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Sorry I'm having technical difficulties and I look like Jack Sheedy with no face, but it is really me. And thank you to everyone for sharing. It's an honor to be a part of this initiative. My poem is called Women Dance Away. Traveling alone from the old country, her hair blowing in the ocean wind, the grandmother I loved caught the eye of her future abusive husband. When I became of age, she crooked a finger at me, speaking in broken English. Men are no good. Men are beasts. You stay away from men. A few years later, I understood the burden of being a woman. With beauty that attracts and taunts, we are your beloved angels. We are the devils you despise. We are the ones you long to possess. We are the ones you loathe. Eluding your lust, you blame us for inflaming your desire, punishing us with the untamed atrocities of masculinity. You shroud us to diminish our flame, yet you cannot. We will go barefoot, shake our hair loose as we dance away, dance away, dance away, as we always have, as we always will. And so I take my grandmother's hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you. Our next reader is Jacqueline Moss. She has spent her life seeking Christ consciousness through poetry, mysticism, and spiritual practices. Her books of poems, The Hand You're Dealt, was released this spring by Pittsburgh's Poets Press. And I give you Jacqueline.
It's such an amazing reality that we're all here together on Zoom from so many different places. This was incomprehensible not too long ago. So I'm reminded that even though there's such space between us all, we are definitely all connected. We are, in fact, all brothers and sisters. And this fight for human rights is really important. And I'm very pleased to be here with you all today to fight the good fight. My poem is called Strip Poker for Iranian Activist. Mahsa Amini, who I first saw on Bill Maher's show. Bill Maher, of course, is an American comedian and activist. And when I saw her on his show with her beautiful long hair, I thought, you know, this is a woman who will not be defeated. So this is for her and her fight. Strip poker. The dealer shuffles the deck with hands of light, deals one for her, one for him, face down on the table. Lips, eyes, tombs of silence. This is how the game begins. She plays to lose. First hand, 3 of hearts, deuce of diamonds, nothing with nothing. He wins. She unties her shoes, the curve of her golden toes, the crescent arches of her feet bring the dealer to tears. Another hand, she loses, the tunic pulled over her head, voluptuous breast, nipples with dots, a Milky Way of promises. Last round, another loss. At last, the hijab falls, the scarf a flag in the wind. Her hair flows in waves on the breath of God. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you. Is Nancy Mercado here? I couldn't remember if
Yes.
she arrived or not.
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, okay. Now I see you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So let me introduce you to Nancy. She recently was nominated for the prestigious Pushcart Prize. She is the recipient of the American Book Award for Lifetime Achievement and was named one of the 200 in the U.S. who best embodies the spirit of Frederick Douglass. And I give you Nancy.
Thank you. I want to first thank George. Hi, George. It's great to see you. Who invited me or who told me about this project. Angie and you, Gloria, for putting this together. It's an amazing amount of work and wonderful that this is happening. My poem is titled A Halo for Mahsa. My hair intimidates you, the mane that tells the story of my family, what protects my beauty, my crown of glory. My hair intimidates you, these flowing threads sweeping the earth, what I fiddle with day and day, twisting, combing, brushing, twirling, releasing, what dresses me, my braided halo. My hair intimidates you, so much so you ripped it from my skull, so much so you left my battered body strewn across a filthy cell. My hair, what now blankets my sinless grave. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I will go on with the second part. Now we have George Wallace. George is a writer in residence of the Walt Whitman birthplace and the first poet laureate of Suffolk County. He is the author of 39 books and chapbooks of poetry published in the US, in UK, Italy, Macedonia, and India. He just came back from his reading trip in Europe. So we had him in our Piccolo Museo della Poesia, which is the only museum for poetry in the world, which hosted his reading. It was wonderful. 2 weeks ago, no, or 3, don't remember. So he's a prominent figure in the New York scene. In fact, he just published or put together the anthology From the Inside, which gives a panorama of the New York-based poets. George.
Well, thank you, Angie. I think that's the Lake Cottage. I recognize the stair steps behind me. So, a great honor to be able to participate in this very important event. And I'm glad that Gloria has been able to pull together something on behalf of the American poets and all the poets who can contribute today. To our Irani friends that are here in the audience today, I wish you a Chitoraste. I hope that you're well, Kobast. And that's a little bit of Farsi. That's all I know, except how to order kebab in the marketplace, but we don't need that here. It's a very important occasion. So I will read the poem that I contributed and then turn it back to Angie. Okay, thank you. It was always a question of this. It was always a question of this. It was never a question of right or wrong. It was always a question of who gets to tell who what's right or wrong. Of who gets to tell who what is right or wrong, which is which, how to do things. It was always a question of this, being free to do what your heart tells you to do, not priests, not politicians, not friends, family, neighbors, husbands, mothers. It was always a question of this, being free to choose, free to go the traditional way or to choose a new and different path, free from the gratuitous proclamations of powerful men and their holy books and their holy states. Men and their laws, always about them, centuries of men with their sour beards and high pulpits, men in robes telling women how to pray, what to wear, how to make love, whether or not they may let their hair blow free in the wind. Thank you.
Thank you, George. George and his Poetry Bay is also one of the supporters of the project. In fact, George proposed many poets to the project. Thank you. So now we will listen to Don Krieger. Don, are you there? Okay. Don is the author of the hybrid collection Discovery 2020 and in 2022 of the hybrid chapbook When Danger is Past, Who Remembers, with Milk and Cake Press. And he is published in Seneca Review, in the Ashari Shimban, Beltway Quarterly, the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, and many more. His work has been translated into Farsi, Greek, Italian, German, Turkish, Romanian, and Portuguese. Don, we listen to you.
Thanks very much, Antje and Gloria and everyone. It's a privilege, and I'm grateful to be here, included in any way at all. Be fruitful for my nameless sisters. She was alone, not so old as me, a ring and a bad wig. She looked longing into my face as we passed on the summer sidewalk. I felt that hollow leer before, but not so harsh, not so eloquent. Too many Sabbaths, too many births.
Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. So the next reader is Kate Vexun. She has lots of appearances in Loveland Quarterly, Cultivating Voices with Sandy Yanone, that we all know, and other appearances in other reading. You're a Zoomer, let's say. So we listen to your poem, Kate.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be listening on the videos of so many people. And when I listen in their languages, which I don't understand, I join them with such heartfelt kinship that I understand that the language of our tone and what we bring is very important. My poem. Epigraph to 14th century Persian poet Hafez. The earth would die if the sun stopped kissing her. Epigraph to 13th century Persian poet Sadi. Awake in the morning. Nowruz breeze is showering the garden with flowers. Wind follows us all. Sacred Euphrates and Tigris rivers in Iraq join Arvand Rud River in Iran. Water is life. Rivers sing songs the hearts hear, yet wind has but one name. Lofty mountains, ancient forests reach above coastal Persian Gulf. Narrow Strait of Hormuz gives safety as we berthed into the Gulf of Oman. Gahar Lakes, largest in the world. As a child, I learned to run as fast as the wind. Others ahead of me, some lagged behind, tumble and fall, begin again, yet the terrain has its own call. Prolific Persian gardens in every province of Iran, reflective pools, vegetation of floral glory, attentive gardeners greet all visitors with the love of place. Lends the love of poetry. Oh, dream the statuesque cities, architecture, skyward columns, artistic creations, extraordinary tile motifs, culture to behold. Across distant villages of an ancient people, UNESCO honoring 26 World Heritage Sites in Iran. Oh, dream the visions of hope and peace. Always let the wind remind me what I ran from.
Thank you, Kate. Now we have Megan Gruposo from New York. She is the co-founder of Neuronautics Institute Presence and Press, with a monthly poetry series in New York City, both live and Zoom. Okay, we are listening to you, Megan.
Thank you.
Oh, you're a little bit disturbed.
I don't know. Am I don't know if it will even out. I had internet issues earlier. Is it still not good? Okay.
Try to read. Can you hear us? Yeah.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You
yeah,
all look normal to me,
so I can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to thank George as well. All right. Quick thank you to George and thank you, Antje and Gloria. In the event of the inevitable strong wind, this love abundant, I want to chew it and break it off and toss it, deadhead to flower at command and prune it. I want to compost it. I want to see it thrive and shine and reflect moonlight. Come on, let me feed it. I want to take this newly found righteous wellspring and deny us irrigation. I want to feel our taproots actively seek and burrow through cracks in rocks and carry slow drip rainwater along their soil-bound bark, aid in this gentle coaxing to widen. I want to know our swollen taproots touch hidden mantle, and all the while, I want to look into your eyes as they co-hold all this wordless sky knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you very much. Now we have two special persons from Iran, mother and daughter. You are at the same place now, right, Fanat?
Yes.
Yes. So I would start with your mother. But what I wanted to say, among the Iranian, there are lots of really high quality poets. All the people I met now, they write really sophisticated poems. And often it's a family thing. So the mother writes, the father writes, the daughter writes, the son writes. It's in the culture. And Farnat, no, the mother is Ferishte. Ferishte, I would like to ask you maybe afterwards if you could read your poem also in Farsi so we can hear this wonderful language. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Ferishte was born in Iran and is now living in Santa Cruz. She's an artist creating works in silver jewelry and watercolors. So, multiply artist. So we listen to your poem, Farnat.
Okay.
No, Farishte.
Thank you. And I just want to say what an honor it is to be amongst so many well-established writers. And I want to thank my daughter, Farnaz, who is a well-established writer, who invited me to participate if I wanted to. And of course, I jumped at the chance. If you don't mind, I'd like to read the Farsi first. Does it matter?
Wonderful.
Okay. It's titled Lion Woman's Mane, which in Farsi is Yal Shirzand. وزش یال بلند شیرزنان را میشنوی؟ روبرو شده با طوفان باورهای دروغین، با کمری شکسته در زیر بار زورگویی، دستانش بسته با زنجیرهای مذهب. هرچه وزنه فشار سنگین‌تر، او آماده تر. او برای آزادی حاضر به گردن باختن است. اما آرمان او از همه گلوله ها قوی تر است. با یال شیر آزادی بازی مکن.
Thank you.
Lion Woman's Mane. Do you hear the roar of Lion Woman's mane blowing in the wind? Face to face with the storm of false beliefs, with a broken back under the weight of being bullied, her hands tied with the chain of religion. The heavier the pressure, the readier she is. For freedom, she is ready to lose her neck. But her will is stronger than all the bullets. Do not play with the mane of the freedom lion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very stiff. And now we listen to Farnat's daughter. Farnat is current poet laureate of the county of Santa Cruz and the author of the 2022 poetry collection, Sister Tongue.
Thank you. This poem is for the bravery of the young people in Iran. Hair in the wind. I scissor a self apart, hold fastness, a force to be reckoned with. In my paralysis, I'm as criminal as the regime. Hair in the wind, filament of thistleflower. I share myself with sisters. Strands of us were separate. We pull together, find our places. There is no return to the single strand. The crowd is a plate. Even a broken hair stays on the head when it's braided in.
Thank you very much. So now we are ready through, and we invite Gloria to read her poem. Gloria, she is an editor of Červená Barva Press, and she's editing wonderful books and lots of books. But she is also the author of 6 poetry books and 3 chapbooks, translated and published into 11 languages. And she is the author of the award-winning book Ash, which is wonderful. Okay, Gloria, so we listen to your poem.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to say before I read my poem, all of you, your work is so powerful. I'm just so touched by it. This poem is called Murdered. A casualty of the morality police, beaten into non-existence, disappearing into the grave. Such horror swept into anger, into a chorus of protests throughout Iran and the world. It's a man's world for a voice. Sadness ripples across the earth. So many women brutalized in the name of religion. Some men kill and brief people in lies, a defense hiding behind the supreme leader. Sleep, Mahsa Amini. We will cut our hair and lay it at the Sadabad complex for Ayatollah Khamenei. Here you go, in torn hijabs surrounding your residence, blowing against your windows. No, I will not call you the supreme leader. Only you are the great Satan. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, what I wanted to say at the end is that this is one movement, but Iran had lots of movements. In fact, in Germany, there are so many different immigrants waves. And the interesting thing is that in our project, there are Iranians from the first immigration who fled from the Shah. Then there are immigrants every 10 years, there are other immigrants. And so we have all the generations in this project. And we had also one woman in the project, her name was Termet Yakubi. And a week later, after the poem arrived and the video arrived to me, one Iranian friend in Germany called me and said, do you know, they arrested Termet. Termet was living in Turkey at that time, because lots of Iranian women that are in danger, they go to Turkey to refuge themselves in Turkey because the border is nearby. But Turkey, as we know, is not much better. So Termet had participated in a women's demonstration at the 25th of November against violence against women. And in March, she was arrested, and they wanted to send her back to Iran. So this little network that we put up with this project in Germany was able to manage that. She was an artist that she got, she got a scholarship for 1 year in Hamburg. And so we could get her out of Turkey and, let's say, save her. And now there's another case of Mahtab Yagma. She is a poet also refugee in Turkey. The problem is in Europe, there are lots of pastaran who are the guardians of this Islamic revolution, and they are following the contestants and the people that protest and that think differently, even if they are out of the country. And so this woman was threatened by these secret police, you can say, and she's fearing for her life. So we try again to find a way with organizations to make her get out of Turkey. So these are then the concrete cases, no? Because we are reading and we are in our safety zone, but we are also asked to intervene concretely. So I thank everybody for being here with us and having shared these deep poems. And I think it's important that we go on with this. We don't leave the women alone. Also in Afghanistan, also in Pakistan, the situation is really bad. So let's keep our solidarity also in future. Thank you very much for everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I wanted to appreciate all your helps. Actually, every single help, every single action is valuable. It helps. It's life-saving. I deeply appreciate that. You've done very amazing things, and this event was actually wonderful. And I hope we can continue this connection. We can continue talking together. We can continue sharing our works together. Sorry, I'm taking your time with these words, but let's keep in touch. Let's try more and more. It's wonderful. And I, again, really appreciate your efforts and helps. Thank you, everyone. All poems have been very wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.